me. There we go. Hey there, strangers. It's time for the 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your Strange Bird Jim, and today we're going to be getting back into studying some Pega. Then we're going to be doing some video uploads, and um, then we'll be playing some Subnautica Below Zero later on today. Let me go ahead and get the page set up there. There we go. We're going to be covering the data pages and the visual data model today for Pega. Still haven't gotten any, or at least from the looks of it, I haven't gotten any comments or anything along the lines concerning the past two topics of data modeling and data records. Haven't been able to reach someone to figure out where my misunderstanding there was, but we're just gonna proceed onwards. For those that, you know, obviously for those of you that are watching on YouTube, there's not going to be any kind of difference. For anybody that is that follows me on Twitch, I want to apologize for um, not showing up yesterday. Just got hit with, an email that just did not get me in the right mindset for streaming. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to take a day off. So yesterday was just weird. I'll talk more about that later. You don't need to hear about it now. We need to continue our study for System Architect. For those of you that, if you're catching this for the very first time, I'm going through all these missions, all these modules, all these challenges to prepare myself to retake the certification exam for the CSA System Architect certification. I'm doing this one to kind of keep me moving forward on it, so that I don't slack off and and stop. I want to eventually get to that point where I can take the certification exam and pass it. Based off of some of the comments, or I sent out some suggestions, some update, suggesting edits for a lot of these pages. And the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was one of the replies that I got was basically saying, we're only doing the minimum. And it's like, well, that doesn't help anybody with the study, you know. Um, because, I mean, if you want them to be fully knowledgeable about what they're doing in Pega, then you should be providing everything, all the information. Now, it could be that they're saving all the information for the more advanced certifications. That could be a thing. Um, I mean, that might be the case, but I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't really know. I haven't taken any of the, I haven't done any of the more advanced missions and the like. So, um, but we'll keep on moving forward. So, now supposedly this is 10 minutes long on this one, and we'll keep moving forward in hopes that we'll figure out what what's going on with this. So far, I've been kind of struggling with this particular module with the topics. So maybe this one will help me click the information that they've been trying to present. Maybe. I don't know. Um, the first topic is should be um, available for everybody on YouTube, and my confusion there. So um, I'm hoping that I'll get some comments there and to help me clarify, or help clarify what exactly were they trying to say. Um, because it felt like on one paragraph they were saying it one way, and in another paragraph they were saying it in the exact opposite way. So it just, I don't know. It just felt off. Um, so yeah, let's proceed on. So data pages and the visual data model. In App Studio, data pages show how your application uses data and defines the data associated with a data object. Okay. Data pages provide links between data records and your application. Okay. The visual data model is a diagram that shows these links by providing visibility into the application's data model and how the entities are related. You can update, add, delete fields while viewing the visual data model. In previous versions of Pega platform, data pages were called data views. That's helpful. I mean, views sounds, familiar. I mean, they typically talked about views. Um, didn't they reference that in the previous pages? I'll look at that later. I'll put a pen in that one for now. In the following image, click the plus icon to learn about the various entities that are displayed on the visual data model and how you can interact with these entities. Okay, so first one, view entities in your data model. From the left pane, you can view the case types, and the data objects as well as the fields associated with each. How are you able to see case types? Maybe it's the online order. Okay, online order case type. Okay. As well as the fields associated with each. For example, if you select online order case type in the left pane, the fields associated with the online order case type are displayed. Okay, but it also displays the data objects too, right? Don't shortchange this here. You know. Open the data model. Click Open to open the data model for a case or data object. Okay, so it can be either or. Online order could be a case type, which they should say case type, not just case, or data object. So, uh, for example, if the online order case type is selected, click and Open displays the data model tab for the online order case type. Add a field. Click the plus icon to add a field or data reference to a case type or data object. Okay. For example, if the online order case type is selected, clicking the plus icon adds a field to the online order case type. Hey, you need to kind of change this or something like that. Maybe have this as like a keyword or something like that, because you're once again you're saying, adds a field or a data reference down here. But whatever. We'll move on. Edit or delete a field. Hover over field, click the gear icon to edit a field. Click the trash icon to delete a field. The icons are grayed out if the option is unavailable. For example, you cannot edit or delete system fields like case ID or case status. Unless, of course, you create your own case ID and case status that overrides the system fields, can you? Can you do something like that? Not to say that, you necessarily should, but I mean, maybe you want to add something more for the case ID or case status or something like that that Pega doesn't allow. Then you might be able to. Maybe. I'm just putting that out there. um, there's such a thing as overloading, overriding. I always get those two confused. So okay, view case type data objects. Select the case type in the diagram to view the data objects and case types that the selected case type references. So a case type can reference another case type. And that kind of makes sense. Cases are indicated with a case icon. Data relationships with a single record are indicated with a single line icon, and data relationships with multiple records are indicated with a three-line icon. For example, the online order case type references customer and orders data objects, and then order inquiry case type. But I mean, once again, they should have used, the proper icons here. Show one of each here. The single, the triple, and the case. But I mean, they kind of showed it in a previous diagram, so I'm gonna let it go. But they really should show like a proper, if you're gonna reference the fact that hey, you have a single line icon and a multi-line icon, then show them. View the relationships among entities. The diagram displays the relationships among the case types and data objects in your application using arrows. Case types are indicated with the case icon. For example, the online order case references the customer. You're repeating the information here. What the hell? Why even have this? You're repeating yourself there, Pega. What? You don't need this. You could, if necessary, you can add what this single line here in here, if necessary. Or just have that single line in there, and that's it. You don't need anything more. Um, oh, moving on. In previous example, an online order case type processes orders from a website. The application sources customer information from an external system of record using the customer data object. A data page defined for the customer data object identifies how to connect to the system of record and what fields to map in the data object. Okay. The example above shows the customer query field maps to the customer data object. Hmm. Data page allows an application to populate a data reference with source data, in this example, detailed customer information, without the developer knowing anything about how or where the data is stored. The separation and the data integration from your application enables developers to update the data sourcing for a data object without impacting how the application uses the source data. In an online order case example, you might need to change the data source for the orders data. You can change the data source in a data page without needing to update how the application uses that data. So if a new data source satisfies company requirements better, you can update the source in the data page without updating the view that presents the returned data to the user, which makes sense. Default data pages for data objects. Pega platform provides 3 default data pages for data objects configured to a system record. For example, 3 data pages are automatically generated for the request data object. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about each default data page. The request data page returns a single record. List request data page displays all the request type data records. Okay. The savable request data page allows a case to save a single record to the system of record. Okay. So you have request, you have a listing of requests, and then you have the possibility of saving a request. All right. Simulated data pages. Data pages can be production ready or simulated based on the status of the data source. Simulated data pages do not have associated data source. You must configure the connection to a data source before data pages are ready for production. However, you can use a simulated data source during application development and testing. In App Studio, you can create and view data pages in your application. You can also add and replace data sources. Checking your knowledge with the following interaction. Alright, so which of the following statements correctly describes data pages in App Studio? Data pages are only available when Pega is the system record. I don't think so, no. Data pages are not configurable with new data source. That's incorrect. Data pages identify how to render a user form. That also doesn't seem correct. In App Studio, data pages identify how to obtain data from a system record. Even that doesn't sound correct. Because you know, um, the separation data interaction from your application enables developers to update the data sourcing for a data object without impacting how the application uses source data. So, I mean, this one seems like the best one out of it all. Yeah. Data pages are only available when Pega is a system record. That's not correct because you can use an external um, data source. Um, Data pages are not configurable with a new data source. That's incorrect because, you can have brand new. I mean, you can even simulate a a data source. So that's incorrect. Data pages identify how to render a user form. Um, it has no basis for a user form. Yeah, let's see what they say. Let me refresh the page and um, you know, we have that one, but let's go one by one through the incorrect answers and see what they say. Views are a UI feature that identifies how to render a user form. Okay. They need to kind of be careful here because data pages were originally called data views, you know, according to right up here. So, one could interpret, you know, a data view, on rendering a user form. But again, they changed it, so it doesn't necessarily apply anymore, but still, they have to kind of be careful with the wording here on that. Um, okay, so we have that one, we had that one. Let's go ahead and pick this one, only available when Pega is system record. Data pages are available when any system record exists. So not just Pega, it's any system record. Um, so we got that one, we got that one, and we got that one. So this is the last one to kind of check the answer on. So the data source can be changed in the data page without affecting the application usage. That has no bearing as to what they're talking about, though. um, Data pages are not configurable with a new data source. I mean, the I mean, if you said data pages are not configurable, then I can understand this um, wording a little bit. But I mean, it's saying configurable with a new data source. So I don't know. I don't know if this answer really works very well on this. But I mean, I'll 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 let it go. Um, that just seems like an odd explanation, for the answer given here. So, okay. Now, I put a pin in the fact that, they changed data pages from data views, but I thought I saw data views in the previous topics. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of copy this here real quick. I'm going to go back to the other topics here. I'm going to see. Okay, not shown there. Okay, so the wording isn't found in the search. So, um, hmm, I mean, they use a lot of views. So here's that example of the three line that I was talking about before. They really should have added that into the in our current topics image there. Um, okay. Not- Just trying to see if they did the data view at all. One would hope that they didn't. Um, the the fact that they, use a lot of views is, understandable, but at the same time, it's, um, it has the potential to confuse as well. Okay, doesn't look like there's anything here on this page. These are data views. Hmm. Create a case view, not a data view. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah, it looks like they made sure. I was a little concerned there, you know. Wasn't sure if they were going to if they were gonna be using that. But I mean, I am thankful that they added this clarification that they're changing data views into data pages. Now, they don't state, you know, which previous versions. I mean, that would be kind of nice if they actually did that. In that, hey, we're um, in versions like 8.6 and prior, it was originally called data views. That way, if you ever talk with an fellow developer, Pega developer, um, you can basically say, if they start saying, data views, then what, what they, you know, where their training was, or, you know, in an ideal world, obviously, programmers would, should kind of stay up to date with, what happens with the languages that they're developing in. But that's not always the case. Um, you know, even, um, you know, um, some people just kind of get, in their, you know, standard way of doing things and don't really expand, you know, expand what they can learn. So they tend to get really rigid and not very flexible at times. So okay, um, I'm not saying that everybody does it. I'm just saying, you know, there are those few that they get set in their ways. So so you just need to know. Oh, okay, this guy's talking about data views. Okay, he means data pages. You could try like updating them, saying, it's no longer called data views, it's called data pages. But then again, they might be like, oh, okay, and then continue saying data views. You know, Um, all right. Let's see. We got about 20 minutes left for studying, so this one is a shorter page, so we might be able to get through it all. Integration Designer landing page. The Integration Designer provides a single location in App Studio for viewing all the data objects, data pages, object dependencies, and external systems in an application. The Integration Designer also provides insight on how these entities are connected. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn about about the various entities that are displayed on the Integration Designer landing page and how you can interact with these entities. So you have the data model, you have the integration map, uh, the various data objects, their data pages, what it's referenced by, or the case types, systems of record, and of course anything else that might come along. So visual data model, access the visual data model from the view button on the data model header panel. So if you click on that right there, okay, well they don't necessarily give you an example of it, but I mean all you have to do is just go back to this page and you'll see, this is the data model that they're referencing there. So integration map. Access the integration map from the view button on the integration map header panel. Now, okay, here's their integration map. Um, in some ways, they probably should have traded spots with this. Like, talked about the integration map up here first before referencing it in this image. Like, swap them around. Have the integration map up at the very top and then reference it again, on this designer landing page later or, after the fact kind of thing. So, I don't know. I wasn't quite sure exactly where the integration map was being referenced until I saw it down there. So, I mean, if I was looking at it here, I'd be like, wait, we haven't talked about integration map yet. What are they talking about? I mean, you can see it over here too, but yeah. All right, data objects. Each row represents a case type or a data object. Each holds data for the application. Case types define processing objects, which contain data objects and data fields. Data objects contain data fields and may contain embedded data objects. Click a data object to display the Data Model tab with data fields of the Data Designer. Okay. For example, the application has two case types, assistance request and service. Both contain data objects including customer, vehicle information, service provider, as well as others. Um, Wait, hold on. I see the assistance request and I see the service over there, but this isn't listing them. Each row represents a case type or a data object. But why would it represent a case type if the entire column here is supposed to be about data objects? What are you talking about represents a case type? It's not showing the case type here in the data objects column there, Pega. What? Um, and what about a new vendor? Isn't that also a case type? You're not addressing a new vendor here in your example. Ah, Pega, what the hell? Okay. Each holds data for the application. Case types define processing objects which contain data objects and data fields. Again, you're, it's not address in this particular column. It's not addressing case types. So this should be more referenced here. The reference by column displays the case types and data objects to reference the data object. For example, payment information is referenced by the assistance request case type. So I mean that makes sense. You know, this is showing the case types. Now, um, it's saying that it should also be referencing data objects, but they're not showing an example of a data object here. So, uh, okay. Give me an example of a data object having being referenced by another data object here. Please. Please show me an example on that because, you know, a visual representation helps me learn. So all you're showing right now is, case types and not even, you haven't even addressed the fact that you have a new vendor case type here. So, even this is incorrect on that. So, data objects contain fields and may contain embedded data objects. Click the data object to display the data model tab with data fields of the data designer. Um, so here's the thing. It's um, data objects contain data fields and may contain embedded data objects. Okay, embedded data objects. That's great. Show that. But nowhere in this diagram here does it show anything concerning fields. So, you know, sure, data objects do contain data fields. That, you've already stated that, but nowhere in this page does it show it at all. Or if it does, where? um, it doesn't look like it's showing any information about payment information. It doesn't show any fields concerning payment information anywhere on this particular row, for example. Um, so yeah, this is okay. Moving on. Data pages. Each data object may have one or more data pages. Each data page represents an instance of how your application is capturing and or displaying the data fields of the object. 3 columns represent the data pages. If there are 3 or more data pages, the third column has a count button that displays the count exceeding 2. Click any of the 3 data page columns to display the data pages tab of the data designer. For example, the customer data object is used in 3 data pages. Okay, which is correct. One, two, and the third. Okay. I'm I'm okay with this, description. It makes sense. That's fine. Simulated data sources. Use simulated data sources if the actual source system is not available or is under development. To learn more about simulated data sources, see simulated data. When a data source is simulated, the name will have a text indicator. In this example, there's no simulated data sources. Well, thank you. That helps me none. How? How does it have a text indicator? Show me these things. How am I supposed to know what is a simulated data source if you don't show it to me? Give me an example of their Pega, because otherwise I won't know. If I go out into the real world and I see this page and one of them is a simulated data source, I might not know unless it's like blatantly obvious, like this is simulated or something like that. Um, what was it? Right here. This is showing simulated. Is that going to be the exact same thing on the data object? Am I going to be seeing simulated underneath the data object here? You know, give me an example here. You know, be thorough. You know, the minimalistic approach doesn't help me understand. You know, if there's um, if I go out onto the real world, they're gonna want me to hit the ground running. You know, they're not gonna be sent. Most companies now they don't give a damn for if a employee you know if an employee isn't ready to hit the ground running on being a programmer, they won't give a damn about hey, oh, you don't know this, oh, we'll train you. No, that's not going to happen. Or at least most companies that I've been at, they won't care about you. If you get to the real world, they're going to expect you to you know here's what we need you to do, you better do it. And if you fail at doing it, well, guess what? We're not gonna, we're not gonna renew your contract, or we're gonna let you go because you're apparently, you know, don't, you're not good enough for the job. That's the corporate world nowadays. You know, and don't tell me I'm wrong because it's happened to me multiple on multiple occasions. There was only one job that I've ever actually had where the CEO actually, took the time and explained things to me. Sat me down and kind of showed me, how to kind of do, certain things. One job, you know. Programming world, no, they want you to be able to hit the floor and go. They don't care about training. You know, if you want to learn something, you better learn it yourself because they're not going to give a damn. That's the American corporate world for you nowadays. Forget about training. You better have that 5 to 10 years of experience that they want from that, resume because you're not going to get in on the job, or at least I've yet to see. I've yet to see it. You know, if you're watching this and you're like a team lead or a manager or something like that, look on your new employees and work with them. Get them trained, you know, help them learn because, you know, I got to I got to one job, okay? They threw me into the project. They said, "Learn Cold Fusion. There's plenty of websites. Learn it. That's it." You know, that maybe if I had a question, I could go to the, you know, the well, I mean, he was the CEO, but I mean, I had no team lead at that particular job. Um, it was a satellite company, so they had no established team leads there for me to talk to about cold fusion. You know, the only person that I could talk to there was the CEO, and you know, he said that he had some experience with cold fusion. Great, but he was super busy, so you know, I couldn't really. He couldn't sit down with me. I couldn't really sit down with him and talk about, you know, what cold fusion was. I had to learn it all on my own. Okay, and I did. You know, I get to the client's website and you know I start working on it, start doing what they need to have done, and I find out that hey, their login system was totally screwed up. Anybody could have logged into their system because the previous workers that worked on that page basically said, um, you put in the username and you put in the password, click submit, goes through. Doesn't matter if you know it doesn't. It checked the database to see if it was true or not. But if it got back and said, hey, you know, um, the information isn't correct, it still let you in anyway because it was like, hey, if this information is true, great, true, go on forward. If this information is false, great, true, move forward. It's like, wait, what? You know, that was that was you know someone of basically like my equal status, you might say, like a new um, tier one in programming employee. They did that, you know. I I hope that it wasn't like the CEO. That'd be like, okay. So I had to fix that, you know. Um, and I just recently like graduated from college for the most part on that. I had like one job prior to that job, so I can't. I wasn't considering myself nearly near anywhere near an expert, but the fact that I was able to find that bug and you know and fix it, but yet I look back on it and go, some of my own in my own kind of status wrote that as like okay, but why did I catch that? Why did I catch that? You know, so um, so one, tech leads and managers should be reviewing new, you know, new hires code or reviewing their code, to make sure that it's proper, it's designed well, and that works. Um, and two, they should be working with them to, you know, get them to be, you know, you know, help them learn to get them up to being a team lead and, eventual manager. Work with them on that because um, if you don't do that, if you don't, you know, um, if you don't help them on doing that, then they're just going to be stuck in that same position. You need to help them grow. You know, that's why it's like, I see all these posters saying, hey, be a mentor, please. you know, please be a mentor. Please be a mentor to others. Help new programmers out. You know, because in our, you know, everybody's like on, hey, we need these senior programmers. They need seniors. Well, how do you make the seniors? You take the new hires and you train them to be, you know, uh, efficient on their own. Otherwise, what happens? You're gonna have a gap in the bridge without any kind of space in the middle there. You're gonna take these entries and say, "Oh, okay, you've been doing okay. I'll put you up into team lead." They're gonna be like, "I've never led people before." And guess what? You're gonna have even a worse time on it because now you're in, now you're gonna have like one idiot leading a team of idiots. Not to say that, I'm just saying there's inexperience there, and if you're not careful, you're gonna have a Keystone Cops situation. You're gonna have a lot of bumbling about. You're gonna have a lot of code mess. You're gonna need to put in a lot of fixes, and you know, um, so you know, lead by example. Be that mentor. You know, teach people how to code properly. We've already seen that one, so we don't need to work on that. System record. Column shows the system or systems record the data object uses. A system record is an internal or external system that sources the data. The systems record referenced in the application are also displayed in the system dropdown just below the left data model header panel. Okay. For example, the customer data object is sourced by the Pega system record. Customer, yeah. Now, it doesn't show like other icons for like an external system record. You know, internal is Pega for the most part. So, but I mean, it doesn't show any kind of icon for their external. I mean, they probably should in some way, but I mean, how what kind of icon would they show though, right? It's kind of implied that hey, these are external systems record, because it's not showing Pega, right? So, actions menu. Action menu provides an option to delete data objects. Is that all it provides? I mean, if it's just to delete objects, then why have the triple dots? Why not just have a trash can here and that's it? I'm 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 thinking that there's more to this actions menu than what they're giving me here. Because you don't do a triple dot here and call it an actions menu for just a delete. That makes no sense to me, you know. That would be like, yeah, let's go to like one of the previous visuals here. It's like, this right here, where it has the gear icon and the trash icon. I mean, if they did it like a triple dot there, then that would make sense, right? The gear icon is, something else that they could do, right? You know, it's a combination of the two if they did a triple dot right there, right? But if it was just a trash can, then why not just use a trash can? So, um, so I have a funny feeling that this action menu has more to it than what they're letting on. And once again, why aren't they expanding on that? Why aren't they, talking about how, what's available in the action menu beyond the delete? Okay, let's finish this off, and I'll close it down. We'll go into just chatting after this, but the integration map is a diagram of data objects, cases, and systems of record in the application where they are sourced. The integration map can optionally be displayed above the integration designer. The following image, click the plus icons to learn about the various entities that are displayed in the integration map and how you can interact with these entities. So we have the shopping application internal system record. Left portion of the diagram displays the application internal system record that is connected to the data objects in your application. Shouldn't it be the other way around? The data objects that are associated with your application? Oh, whatever. For example, shopping application is the application. Okay. Maybe name it something differently, because this is kind of redundant. Shopping application is the application. You don't say. um, it would be very interesting if the shopping application was actually the internal system record. All right, and Pega is the internal system record. Okay. Data objects. The center of the diagram displays the data objects in your application. Click a data object to display the data model tab of the data designer. For example, customer order and order history are data objects. Okay, so um, my question is that you have a line from Pega to order history. Why are there no lines from customer and orders to the internal system record there? Because they have lines to an external? Possibly. Let's see. Connections to systems of record. The connecting lines indicate which system of record sources which data object. The thickness of each line indicates the number of data pages that are sourced from the system of record. The thickness? Huh? How do you have a thickness of line, and how can you interpret that for the number of data pages? I mean, if it's like the size of this plus here, how many is that going to be? That gives me no indication whatsoever. What the hell? Okay, so both of these are being sourced by an external system record. Okay, makes sense. External system record, the right portion of the diagram displays the external systems record that are connected to the data objects in your application. The number on each system of the record indicates the number of data objects sourced from that system record. For example, the customer data object references the customer and external system record. Makes sense. Now, one thing that I'm kind of curious about is, would there ever be a data object that would have a line to an external and an internal. I would imagine that would be possible because the fields contained within a data object could be referenced by um, you know you can have something in the internal and you can have something on the external, feeding data into an application, right? So why not the same in a data object? So um, I'm going to assume that it's possible, but again, they're not showing an example of that. So I don't know. Again, don't take, I'm not an expert on Pega. Like I said, I'm working on the system architect certification. Um, I can only interpret what they're giving me here. Um, so, um, you know, I'll have to leave that up for, my comments in Twitch chat or comments on the YouTube videos when I do upload these to my YouTube channel. So, if someone has an answer to that, if maybe you have like an image that shows that that's possible on the integration map, then maybe present it or something along those lines, or um, if there is an image in the Pega Academy, like they like to reference links anyway, so there might be a page somewhere that shows that kind of connection between an external, between an external and internal, with the same object. They might have it. I don't know. Um, um, it would seem to me like that has the possibility of, um, you know, it would have the possibility because you can have, your data object is trying to fill in all the fields in that data object, right? Well, why can't it be both, why can't the possibility of having the external and internal, you know, going to the same data object? Now, I'm not saying that it might be the best in terms of, like, it might not be the best in terms of reusability. Let me put that out there. Okay. It might not be a the best designed. Okay. Because um, it would probably be better to try to isolate the external and internal into their own separate objects and then combine both of those objects into basically a container that has both of them being represented, right? That might be a better design. Okay, that way if you need to change something on the customer data object, you can do so without really breaking too much. So I'm just putting that out there. So, um, you know, could it be possible? I'm thinking yes. Is it wise to do so? Probably not. So, all right, checking knowledge for the following interaction. To gain more insight on how the data objects, data pages, case types, and system records relate to one another in your application, refer to the visual data model. Um, yes. Um, The visual data model helps you better understand how the data objects, case types, and fields relate to one another in your application. To gain more insight on how the data objects, data pages, case types, and system records relate to one another in your application, isn't this the same statement? am I am I missing something here? Wait, what? Um, relate to one another in your application. Relate to one another in your application. Birth data, field data model, visual data model. Huh? Um, huh? Um, okay, I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna take, you know, and I'm gonna send that in to them because that's okay. Yeah. Let me I tell me I'm maybe I'm blind or something like that. Maybe um eh, I'm reading the same exact sentence here, right? You know, anybody that's watching me right now in my chat, I'm not I'm not I'm not misreading it here, right? These are essentially the same statements, are they not? Please tell me I'm not out of my mind here. Please, whoever's if anybody is watching this right now, please, you know, let me know. Be great because um this is very confusing. Data objects, case types. Okay. Oh, okay, so they're leaving out data pages and systems of records here. But see. But one thing is that that it doesn't. We're, the visual data model isn't even a topic of this. First off, this the question should be over here, if anything. Should be a question over here. Okay, so visual data model. That's what this is. Visual data model. Um, they're asking. Okay, here, hold on. Okay, so data objects has that. Data pages. I don't know if it has data pages. Or wait. Or is it? Um, but it doesn't show the systems of record from the looks of it. The data page defined for the customer data object identifies how to connect to to a system record and what fields to map to the data object. Data page allows the application to populate the data reference data source in this example. Is it not referencing the data page? Hmm. Probably not. Yeah, it doesn't look like. It doesn't seem to be look like there are data pages being shown on here. But whatever. It doesn't really make that much sense. Why would you be referencing a visual data model on a page for an integration designer? This is just why? You know, change you know, change the wording into something else, you know. If you want it to be the wrong one, like, hey, this is meant to reference the integration designer, then maybe say um, integration page or something like that. You know, that way, at least, you're trying to keep to a similar style or something like that. You know, change up the wording there. Stop, don't use another keyword there. It's like, because, visual data model does reference data objects, case types, maybe data pages. Um, and while it doesn't necessarily show systems of record, it still references it, in a roundabout way still. So, oh well, apparently it's false. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna leave the module quiz for tomorrow. Um, this this particular module has been a real big pain. I'm probably gonna have a hard time with the module quiz um, tomorrow on this. Um, I'm not expecting good results. Seeing that I've already been kind of having difficulty understanding um, the um, the first two topics, data modeling and data records. So yeah, not looking forward to the module quiz for tomorrow. So, but that's it. We're gonna go ahead and close on down for today. I'm going well over my normal hour on this. Apologies on that. Um, um, they're gonna need to rewrite the um, they're gonna need to rewrite their answer here. Okay, you know, like the visual data model does not display page types and system records. If they said that at the very beginning there, the visual data model does not show data pages or systems of record. If they showed that first and then this sentence, then that would be fine. That explains why it's not a good, you know, why it doesn't help you in your understanding because it doesn't reference data pages or systems of record. At least according to this. So, um, they need to rewrite that. They need to rewrite that statement there because that's at first glance, I made the mistake. At first glance, it looks very similar to each other. So that hence the reason why, the suggested. I mean, I mean, I sent it in, so the person that gets it, might look at it themselves and go, "Oh wait, is this guy true?" No, 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 wait, that kind of thing. It might kind of catch them off guard. Um, but you know, I'm hoping that they can fix that. But that's it. Okay. Um, these videos are going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out. Link is down below on my Twitch About page. For those of you watching my YouTube video right now, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. That would help out. Um, check out all the other playlists that I have. Mainly it's gaming related, but if you are interested in any of those games. Um, but yeah, we are going to go ahead and close on down now. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you for watching.